Hey everybody, VSG Joe here, coming to you today and bringing you a video that I've been wanting to make for quite a while, but I just kind of haven't had the time to do it, and then also just really didn't know how I wanted to structure it. And so I kind of got that together, and today the video is going to be about why I picked VSG surgery and specifically why I picked that over other weight loss surgery options. So a few things ahead of time. First off, if you hear construction in the background, they're doing construction behind my house. So sorry guys, it's just gonna happen. And then secondly is, the structure of the video here. I'm just gonna go through some surgical options, give you a quick overview, and then kind of break down why I chose the surgery I did, which, spoiler alert, is the vertical sleeve gastrectomy. So, which will probably end up in the title. So I don't know how much of a spoiler that was, but I don't know. I think we're supposed to say spoiler alert before we talk about anything now, just to make sure. So there you go. So first off, there's a couple options out there if you're looking at weight loss surgery, and hopefully this video helps a lot of you guys out there that are pre-surgery or thinking about having the surgery. So a couple of the options out there. So two, or actually three, I just didn't really consider a whole lot right off the bat. First one was the lap band surgery. With the lap band, they basically put a little round disc around the top of your stomach. You can inflate it, you can deflate it, you can kind of adjust it, do those things. A lot of surgeons aren't really doing those anymore because a lot of people tend to gain the weight back. And then of course, usually insurance companies will only pay for one type of surgery. So now they're left, overweight and either have to deal with it or try to figure it out, or sometimes they'll let them do an adjustment down into another type of weight loss surgery, be it VSG, RNY, something like that. So that one I didn't really consider. I don't like having the thought of having something inside of me. That probably didn't come out right. The thought of having a medical device implanted in myself, just to me, I didn't want it. I think your body tries to get rid of anything that's inside that's foreign. And it just, to me, even though the research doesn't suggest it, to me, I just wasn't comfortable. Didn't really feel like it's something I wanted to pursue. It just seemed like my body would try to reject it. And I don't know, I thought I would just turn into the Terminator or split in half. I don't know what the fear was there, but it just really wasn't something for me. The second type that I didn't really consider, but I knew was out there, is what's called the balloon. There's several different companies that are doing this now, but essentially it's an outpatient procedure. What they do is they put a balloon down your esophagus into your stomach, and then they inflate it. And you can inflate or deflate. It's in there for about couple months, and then they take it out. So they are showing a lot of success on that, and for someone who doesn't typically overeat, that's probably a good way to lose a lot of weight quickly. I think when I was doing a little bit of research on it, it was something like 40 to 60 pounds overweight was kind of the target there. You put it in, you take it out, there's not really there. A couple of drawbacks to it. Obviously, you've got another something in your body, which what didn't to me seem as bad as the lap band, but it is there. And then also that was really for someone who was 40, 60 pounds overweight. I was about 100 something pounds overweight. I was really meant as a quick start. And then as soon as that balloon came out, you're back to eating basically what you could before. And since I was an overeater and could eat, tons and tons and tons of food, I really didn't think it would be very good for me because I thought I would just end up gaining the weight back. So didn't go that option. The other, thing with that is, as far as paying for that, I think that procedure is around $8,000 to $10,000 or $8,000 to $12,000. Insurance typically is not covering that procedure yet because it is relatively new. So a lot of insurance companies, including my own, did not cover that. So I'd prefer not to pay $8,000 or $10,000 or $12,000. So so I didn't really consider that. And like I said, just long term, I didn't think I would be, outside the money, I didn't think I would be very successful with that surgery long term. The third one that is out there that I knew about that I didn't really consider was a DS, or duodenal switch, or duodenal switch. It's pronounced several different ways depending on who you're listening to say it. I don't know which one's right. As I've stated many, many times before, I am not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. Sorry. But that surgery is kind of a mix between a RNY or RNY gastric bypass and a vertical sleeve gastrectomy, or VSG. So essentially what they do is they do cut out a portion of your stomach like they do with the VSG. But in addition to that, they also reconnect your stomach lower down into your intestines, much like they do with the RNY, or a gastric bypass. So, and I'll explain those other two surgeries here in just a few minutes. But so you kind of get the restriction and everything of the VSG plus the malabsorption of having an RNY on there. So that being said, that surgery is kind of considered the nuclear bomb or the sledgehammer of the weight loss surgeries. You basically are throwing everything at it. Being 100-something pounds overweight certainly is nothing to sniff at, but I really wasn't having any health issues. You know, I did have high cholesterol, as I've stated in my videos before, but that was kind of it. There wasn't a whole lot of, you know, acid reflux. There wasn't, you know, all these joint pains and everything else to where I really needed to lose a whole lot of weight very, very quickly. So, like I said, knew that one was out there. That one's covered by almost all insurance companies as far as, you know, any of them that have weight loss coverage on them. So I didn't really consider that particular surgery. So next up are the two that I did consider. So the first one is the RNY gastric bypass. With that particular surgery, what they do is they actually cut out, or they don't cut out, they section off basically a pouch of your stomach that can hold food. So you get a restriction from there. Typically it's, I think, a half cup of food or something like that it will hold. And then at that point, you are full. So kind of like most of the other restrictive surgeries in that regard. The one thing they do with the RNY or the RNY gastric bypass is they also take where your stomach connects to your intestines and connect it lower into your intestines. So basically, the way it would normally work is when you eat your food, it will go through your stomach into your intestines. And then as it's going through the intestines is when your calories and vitamins, minerals, nutrients, stuff like that are all absorbed. So by connecting your stomach lower down into your intestines, you don't absorb as much of the calories and nutrients and minerals that you're using or that you're getting from the food that you would normally eat. So you not only have a smaller amount of food you can eat, you are also going to absorb a smaller amount of calories than you would, be it if your stomach was not rerouted. So that was kind of the gastric bypass. That was one of the surgeries I was looking at. The other one is the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, and that's the one that I ultimately end up having. So with the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, what they do is they cut your stomach into a small sleeve, and then they take the rest of your stomach out. There is no rerouting of the intestines. There's nothing like that. It's just, that's it. You just get the restriction from there. So you were thinking, well, why wouldn't you take that plus the calorie restrictions and stuff like that? So, you know, I thought about it for a little while, and with the RNY, because of the calorie restrictions, your vitamins and everything are much, much more important than with the VSG. Don't get me wrong, you can't just not take your vitamins on VSG. You can't just ignore your vitamins on any of these weight loss surgeries. You do need to take them, and you should take them every day. Myself, I know I'm really bad at taking pills. Not that I don't want to take them or anything like that. I just get busy, I go on about my day, and the next thing I know, it's 8 o'clock, and I'm like, crap, I didn't take my multivitamin today, or I didn't take my calcium today, or something like that. And it really gets to a point with me to where I'll take them for a couple weeks, that'll be great, and then I'll stop taking them. And that's how it was pre-surgery. And I thought to myself, if I do that and I have the gastric bypass, I think it's going to be an issue for me. You know, I didn't want to have the malabsorption plus forget to take vitamins. I thought that would kind of be a double whammy. So that was one of the reasons why I decided to have VSG. So another reason I decided to have the VSG surgery over the gastric bypass was the fact that I was actually relatively healthy. So I did have high cholesterol, but that was it. That was the only comorbidity that I had. So with that, you know, there was no diabetes, no pre-diabetes, anything like that. I didn't have any any acid reflux or heartburn or anything like that. And so it allowed me to be able to actually go in and say, okay, if I just have this surgery, if I do have issues, I still have an option that I can, you know, have a revision to a gastric bypass if I do start having acid reflux or something like that. And acid reflux is something that is common with the VSG. So if you have acid reflux or something like that, my surgeon would strongly disagree from you having it or from having VSG, and would push you into the RNY. If you had diabetes, RNY, type 2 diabetes anyway, type 1, I'm sorry guys, you're stuck with type 1. I'm really sorry. But that being said, if you have type 2 diabetes, a lot of the times if you have RNY, it will actually control that diabetes and even, I guess, reverse it, I guess is the way to put it, but your blood sugar will start running well again. So I didn't really have any of the comorbidities to have to really go through the gastric bypass or anything like that. Other than that, the surgeries themselves, they have very similar results. They're both, the gastric bypass is still considered the gold standard. However, the VSG is becoming very, very, very popular. When I sat down and finally talked to my surgeon about the two, he did think I was a great candidate for the VSG. And like I said, it was because I didn't really have the comorbidities. I didn't have the sleep apnea, the diabetes, you know, stuff like that. And no acid reflux, no heartburn, anything like that to really speak of. So that was it. So which should you pick? I'll be honest with you. Talk to your doctor. You know, like I said, I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. I'm not even one on YouTube videos, nothing like that. But do your research, make sure that you're comfortable with it. Speak to your surgeons. Like I said, if you're having more of any kind of acid reflux or something like that, you're really probably going to want to go with the gastric bypass. However, if not, then you may want to go with the VSG. If you're really, really overweight and need, you know, that real, you know, physical or real extreme surgical intervention, then I would suggest maybe looking into the DS. If you're just, you know, 40, 50 pounds overweight and you're not, you know, maybe this is going to be a little extreme to have weight loss surgery, maybe the balloon is right for you to go. Or, you know, hey, suck it up, diet and exercise if you can. I know I tried. I couldn't do it, and I needed surgical intervention to keep me from falling back into my old ways, my old habits, my old routines. So, but speak with your surgeons, guys. Do your research in all of this. Just because this guy on YouTube had VSG does not mean it's the right surgery for you. It doesn't mean it's the wrong surgery for you either. But I hope that helps some of you guys that are pre-surgery, you know, or just looking into it. I hope it helps you guys kind of know what way to lean to, or maybe give you something to go do some research on. Like I said, make sure you speak with your surgeons. For you guys that have been following the channel for a while, know I've been VSG. You know, thanks for watching, and hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight into my thought process when I was going through and putting this together. So, but that was it. Hopefully this doesn't end up being a 45-minute video or something like that. I think hopefully under 15, but I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you next time. Take care of yourselves.